If they do not bring about change, I think people should be held absolutely accountable at the ballot box. I have no question about it.
Ohio's governor calling for action against lawmakers who do not address mass shootings. Local community remembers two brothers killed in a car crash. And the founder of Facebook apologizing over what he calls broken trust.
This is 13 ABC Action News with Bill Horman.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Today marks the start of the 13th week of the year, but it also marks the 11th murder in Toledo this year. And the worst part is whoever killed a 64-year-old man is still on the loose. This latest murder happened early this morning on Vinton near the Anthony Wayne Trail. Michael Bratton working this story for us tonight. Michael?
Detectives say the murder happened at this home you see behind me, and when police arrived here early this morning, they say they found the victim already dead. Investigators are identifying that victim as 64-year-old Charles Powell. Police say they were initially sent to Powell's home here on the 800 block of Vinton on calls for a person down. But once on scene, police found that he had suffered at least one gunshot wound. Powell's murder marks Toledo's 11th of the year, and those who knew Powell say he was a man who kept to himself and can't believe he was killed.
He was
a good person, very,
happy, helps out. He liked playing the lotto, drinking Pepsi, So every time
go down to Paul's every day and get that lotto ticket. Yeah, he played a lotto a lot.
Either fishing or, church or, he was a good guy.
This murder is still an active investigation for Toledo police. If you have any information and can help at all, call Crime Stoppers at 419-255-1111. Bill?
Michael Bratton reporting. Also in the news tonight, friends and family now showing respect at a visitation for two brothers who died in a car accident. A funeral for Xavier and Aiden Winsick set for tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock at Patrick Henry High School. Now, Patrick Henry schools will be closed for that mass. Wood County deputies say the brothers were on their way home from a dental appointment Wednesday when their vehicle ended up in a roadside creek. New tonight, a canine officer for the Montpelier Police Department getting some new gear to fight crime. This is Canine Justice, and thanks to a nonprofit group called Vested Interest in Canines, Justice will get a vest to protect them from bullets and knives. That vest will be delivered in about 2 months. All right, let's check the weather now. It's chilly for Easter egg hunters this morning, but Ben says there is a warm-up coming.
Yeah, chilly all day. It's 35 outside. It looks like the middle of summer out there, right? Like we're ready for a Mud Hens game, but doesn't feel like it. Last hour, the wind chill was about 25 to 26, even with temperatures in the mid-30s. As promised, much cooler along the Lakeshore 35 Monroe, Toledo, Port Clinton, Sandusky. Meanwhile, it's 42 in Lima and Upper Sandusky. No surprise there. Less breeze. Today, as predicted, 37 the high, 23 the low temps, spot on, 82 for the record. -4. Can you imagine for the, record low temp? Tonight doesn't get that chilly. We've got flattening temperatures, and the wind you see here coming off of Lake Erie by 280 and I-75 by the G plant is going to switch around. We're talking more of a southeast warming trend for the next 3 days. And as some of the kids get ready for spring break, we're talking a big time warm up. Not quite to record levels, but you're going to like this weather apart from the rain, which is needed. We'll talk about all that in my 7-day forecast in just a few, Bill.
All right, Ben, thanks. Parents like it, and now it will be a holiday every year. New in the economy and you tonight, Ohio's sales tax holiday for back-to-school shoppers will now be the first weekend in August every year. State lawmakers signed the new measure, which waives sales tax on clothes and school supplies. This year's tax-free weekend begins August 3rd. New at 6, Ohio Governor John Kasich says lawmakers should be held accountable for their inaction on gun laws. He appeared on CNN today, said if nothing is done, voters should make their voices heard in this fall's midterm elections.
I think there's three kinds of people who are involved in this gun debate. Those that want no changes on guns, believe me, they're there and they're strong. And those people that think there ought to be significant changes, even while we protect the Second Amendment. And the third group are a bunch of politicians who are afraid of their own shadows. And the fact is, if we can keep the pressure on, we're not going to change everything overnight, but you can get significant changes, and I hope so.
Governor Kasich went on to say that the recent special election in Pennsylvania, where a Democrat, now the presumed winner, he says that's proof that voters are fed up with Washington. Now to a developing story involving Facebook. The company's founder, Mark Zuckerberg, used old media to apologize today. A full-page newspaper ad in the U.S. and the UK apologized for what Zuckerberg called a breach of trust with user information. The apology comes after Cambridge Analytica accessed the data of 50 million Facebook users to help the Trump presidential campaign. Well, now members of Congress asking Facebook to reevaluate their stance on how they approach user data.
I think we have to relook at the fact that if you move from one company to another, maybe you should be able to move all your data. There are solutions, and what I invite Mr. Zuckerberg and others is come help work with us. Congress is not always at the best in terms of cutting-edge technology. They need to work with us so we try to get it right.
Zuckerberg says Facebook is taking steps to make sure this does not happen again. Still to come, the Toledo Symphony has a new music director. We'll introduce you to him, take you to a rehearsal. And making your house and lawn look their best. That was the focus of a special convention downtown this weekend. Today is Palm Sunday. It's the beginning of Holy Week for Christians all around the world. This was the Palm Sunday Mass led by Bishop Daniel Thomas of the Toledo Catholic Diocese at Our Lady Queen of the Most Holy Rosary Cathedral on Collingwood this morning. Holy Week ends with Easter Sunday next week, and that means there's 1 week left for kids to find the Easter Bunny. So Franklin Park Mall holding Easter Bunny photo shoots and other activities for the whole family this week.
We will have live bunnies here that they can get in and pet and hold and get to know a real live bunny. There'll also be face painting, a variety of Easter crafts, Easter beanbag toss, and just a lot of fun things for kids to get out and have some fun while they're on spring break this week.
You can get a picture with the Easter Bunny. The photos go from 10 in the morning till 8 in the evening, Monday through Saturday at Macy's Court. Other activities for the kids will be held from 10 to noon tomorrow through Friday. This is the Pro Home Improvement and Garden Show that was held down in Seagate Center this weekend. You could get ideas for spring renovations, anything from an extreme home makeover to sprucing up your landscaping. This year, the backyard was a hot topic.
I heard that people are spending more money on their outdoor backyard than they are in their kitchen and baths. And there's some exhibits down here with TVs, and obviously there's hot tubs. I mean, there's some really cool things, grills, eating areas, all kinds of neat things that you would definitely love to have in your backyard.
And you could also learn some gardening tips at the show this weekend. The Toledo Symphony Orchestra has a new music director, and he's excited about making music here. Here's 13 ABC's Tony Geftis.
When Elaine Trudell conducts the classics,
nice resounding first note and let it go naturally.
He says the music, written hundreds of years ago, returns to life.
It's very alive. The music is alive. Each time we play pa 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 Beethoven's Fifth, the beginning of Beethoven's Fifth, it's always the first time it's been played at that moment.
Trudell is the new music director for the Toledo Symphony Orchestra. He's moving here from Montreal.
And I think if we don't do anything like...
During rehearsal, you can see his focus is on the music, but Trudell says it goes beyond the quality of the sound.
Anytime people talk about the orchestra, it's very important because we're trying to bring some good in the world. And God knows we need it right now, you know?
This season was already programmed for the TSO before Trudell took the position. It included this weekend's performance of Symphonie Fantastique with bells on loan from the Cleveland Symphony Orchestra. Trudell says he wants to make the classics enjoyable for everyone.
You know, one thing that makes me sad sometimes is that classical music has a reputation of being something that's only for a few people. The way we've been presenting it, not in Toledo, but you know, across the world, has been really stuck in another 2 centuries ago a little bit. So what we're trying to do is to, you know, up our game, if I may say so.
he's focusing on what he calls 3 pillars: excellence, education, and accessibility.
What's important for me is to create opportunities where people can come and hear the orchestra, yes, but where we can also play for people, even outside of our beautiful hall here.
That's why Trudell emphasizes it's not the Toledo Symphony, it's your Toledo Symphony. Tony Geftis, 13 ABC, Action News.
This is interesting. The next performance by the TSO is the music of David Bowie at Stranahan, Saturday, April 14th.
Spring break headed our way for a couple of school districts, and it's going to be warm, but not for tonight. The latest on a beautiful and a rainy-filled forecast coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
Now, 13 ABC First Warning Weather with meteorologist Ben Cathy.
Very chilly for today, as promised. The peak wind chill, okay, the warmest it felt in Toledo, at least about 25 to 26 in the Glass City. Meanwhile, tonight, it's going to be pretty mild, relatively speaking, to the past few evenings because that warm wind soon to come in, pumping in that warmth from the southeast. Looking ahead at your wind chills, we're going to go from 24 at 8 p.m. We're going to climb about 30 degrees the next, say, 18 hours or so. 7:30 on Monday, still chilly at the bus stop, and then there it is, the week's pick day. It comes with very warm conditions. Now, it is a little cooler west of, say, the Indiana line or up and down Bryan to Defiance to Paulding to Hillsdale, but it's going to be beautiful sunshine, not a lot of wind. So just get ready to enjoy it. For the kids heading back to the bus, though, we've got some morning sunshine and afternoon sun, but definitely need the jacket for the morning hours, even though it will feel quite good. Other kids are saying, bus stop forecast, we don't need this. We're heading to spring break, including Sylvania School District. If you're heading to the zoo, it is going to be spectacular. 51 tomorrow, warmer even than that Tuesday into Wednesday. However, that comes with a great chance of rain on both of those two latter days. Outside right now, take a look at that. That is really cool. The big freighters of the Great Lakes. Looks like they're picking up some cargo. The bridge was opening up a second ago, and you can see, actually, it's such a big ship, really, that the shadows from the downtown skyscrapers are covering part of it up. 35 degrees with some sunshine. Meanwhile, in the air above downtown, we saw some really cool stuff up in Point Place earlier. Now, we're going to show you some video from our engineer, Steve Petrus. And look at that. This hawk is pretty burly for the season. Now, I was doing some research. There's a lot of bird experts out there in Northwest Ohio, as you know, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a broad-winged or Cooper's hawk, and this guy's ready to go after your neighborhood squirrels or mice. Let's take a look at what is on the way for the rest of the next couple of days. 35 outside right now, but feeling a lot cooler. And there's a winter weather advisory over southwestern Minnesota, but no problem. You see that big core of very clear air right now, high pressure firmly in control. 9 p.m. tonight. Still thinking about that hawk video, crazy, and they're loving this wind off of Lake Erie. 7:30 on Monday, beautiful forecast, great visibility, but you will need the shades if you're heading east into downtown for work tomorrow, like a lot of you are heading from the suburbs or heading back out west. It's going to be very bright and glare-filled for the commute, both in and out of work tomorrow. By midnight, okay, that is the time frame for that rain to start arriving. And it's going to be here in Toledo for the morning commute. Look at that, a wall of rain, that ectoplasm color taking over the map by 3 p.m. We'll get a little break here from some dry pockets of air, but for the ride home, more rain on the way for Tuesday into Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be a little quieter during the afternoon, but by those 2 days combined, we could see about an inch of rainfall. And you say, well, all sounds good. But there's some snow in that 7-day forecast, getting closer to Easter Sunday. 29 for tonight, 51 tomorrow. Much warmer and easily, for me at least, the week's pick day. I guess it depends what you're looking for here. Thursday, quieter, some sunshine, especially in the afternoon. 40 in the morning, 57 for the high temp. Very mild this week. No more of that bone-chilling air like we had today. Saturday, again, pretty quiet. By Sunday, though, we've got a 40% chance of a few melty snowflakes. Similar story on Friday. Doesn't get that cold. And then by next Monday, so that'd be day 8, Bill, maybe a little light, melty accumulation.
Okay, Ben, I'm a little confused. Why is Monday better than Thursday when Thursday is warmer both in the afternoon and in the overnight?
They're both beautiful days, I guess, but we'll have more clouds on Thursday. But they're both big days, but it's just been so chilly recently that it's such a drastic change.
I just know I'm not the only one wondering this.
Yeah, probably not.
Weather and traffic even on a Sunday. Here's Edward Pauloff with our Contrada Law Time Saver Traffic Report.
A reminder for Toledo drivers, tomorrow is the first day that we're going to see more orange barrels back out on Monroe Street over 475. This is that same bridge project that closed Monroe Street for a few months last year. Not a full closure this time, just a few lanes closed, but the city of Toledo says that they have to get crews back out there to work on painting that new bridge. So again, lane closures on Monroe Street. Also during this time, we could see some nightly lane closures on 475 underneath Monroe Street. Again, all of this work starting tomorrow, going through June. That's a check. Your Contrada Law Time Saver Traffic.
Hi, I'm Steve Slifka. Coming up in sports, this guy, former Michigan center Elliot Mueller, standing by to talk all things Michigan basketball. Plus, can the Cavaliers win 5 straight games?
LeBron doing a good job of weaving it.
Now, 13 ABC Action Sports with BCSN. Here's Steve Slivka.
The Wolverines in the Final Four. Loyola Chicago in the Final Four. Those two teams, I should say, of course, will meet in one semifinal game. Villanova, the third team in. Now we wait for Kansas and Duke. Michigan on quite the run right now. They have not lost since early February when Northwestern beat the Wolverines. And here they are heading back to the Final Four for the first time since 2013.
I've never seen a team work so hard and be so connected on both ends of the floor. Even when things do not go right on the offensive end, they were exceptional on defense. You know, we had that string of plays where Mo was wide open, right? Charles was wide open, Duncan was wide open, and they didn't go down and sulk at the other end. They ended up just playing better defense so that we can win the game. So really proud of these guys.
It's kind of crazy for me or for all of us, I think, because like Coach said, we worked so hard as a journey. We worked so hard for 3 years. Muhammad is a senior, you know, and you look at the next step of the journey, and sometimes you forget looking at the ultimate goal, and now you're so close. Now you're actually going to the Final Four.
Joining us now is former Michigan center Elliot Mueller. He's living in Southern California now, and he was actually at the game Saturday night. Tell us about that vibe at the Staples Center.
It was amazing. It was great. It felt like a Michigan home game, actually. I would say probably 80-90% of the crowd was Michigan.
You just moved out there. Are the Wolverines following you, or are you following the Wolverines?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I couldn't believe it. I was hoping they'd win the first game, and I was like, because I just got out here and I didn't have time to get a ticket, and so I was like, just please win this first game, and I'll go to the next game.
Now, you tweeted very early Sunday morning a picture of you holding the West Region Trophy. How did you get to do that?
As soon as I moved to Ann Arbor after I graduated from Wauseon, my neighbors in the dorms were Zach Novak and Stu Douglas, 2 basketball players. Kevin Koger, obviously the Toledo hometown hero, he was my roommate, but we lived next door to Zach. And so Zach, we've been friends ever since then, and he happened to be out here with another one of our teammates, JB Fitzgerald. And, he said after the game, he said, hey, we got to go to the team hotel. I got to see my old coaches. I got to talk to these guys. And so we were just riding on his coattails. He's a basketball legend. We were the football guys just standing in the shadows saying, hey, Coach Beilein. So it was a pretty cool experience.
An acting career is Elliot's next challenge in life. Elias, the sports research deep stats folks, they say LeBron James basically had a night off Friday, about 29 points in 29 minutes, I should say, 27 points. Over the last 5 games, James has 170 points, 52 boards, 54 assists while shooting 59% from the floor. That's a lot of numbers, but do know he's the first player to do this over a span of 5 games. That's according to Elias. Cavs in Brooklyn this afternoon. 39 minutes for LeBron today, just as productive. 37 points, 10 boards, 8 assists. He's 14 of 19 shooting. Cleveland wins 121-114. This is the start of a 3-game road trip for the Cavs. And if NASCAR could run its truck race at Martinsville Speedway today, well, this is what it would look like. However, they cannot because of snow. And the folks around Martinsville, Virginia say they need the snow equipment to remove snow and treat the roads for legitimate snow needs as opposed to getting in and out of the track. And obviously you can't really race on the track either, so they're going to run the Cup race tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Isn't that something? A race canceled because of snow.
At this time of the year.
Yeah.
We're not talking February, we're almost into April.
Just amazing. Amazing weather. All right, how you can make a difference at a local cat shelter coming up next. The Paws and Whiskers Cat Shelter is overwhelmed with kittens, and they need help actually to take care of them. So today they held a kitten shower. People donated supplies much like you would to a baby shower. And if you would like to help, Paws and Whiskers has posted a gift registry at their website, pawsandwhiskers.org. Those are some cute animals. Speaking of, can you take your dog to Maumee Bay State Park? There was a lot of confusion over this policy. Well, tonight at 11, the I-Team will give you some answers, so stay tuned for that. Of course, be sure to join us tonight at 11 for 13 minutes of nonstop news. Until then, enjoy Sunday night with your families, and we will see you later. Good night.
This is home to Toledo's #1 6 o'clock news. Thank you for watching 13 ABC.